You felt the pull to do something meaningful, but between burnout, uncertainty, and a calendar that's already too full, volunteering seems impossible. This June, discover how serving isn't about adding another obligation to your life. It's about finding the place where your gifts, your story, and God's mission intersect in ways that actually give you life. You'll learn how to find your fit, recruit without guilt, and serve with joy instead of exhaustion.
Today, it's good to be with you here today in your kingdom.
Welcome to my natural habitat.
Your natural habitat. You've been here at Eastwood pretty much from the beginning.
The whole time, yeah.
I think you came to the second service that
Second
we
launch
held.
service, yeah.
And you jumped right into volunteering with audio right off the bat.
Yeah.
So while you've been here, you've experienced like a renewal of a call. Tell us just real quick about that.
So I initially went to school. I experienced a call coming right out of high school to youth ministry and a little bit further on to just teaching more broadly. So I was studying to be I wanted to be a professor of theology. So I did undergrad ended up graduating with media ministry. So I was doing media training that entire time as well.
Yeah.
And then I did part of a seminary degree working on basically a pre-PhD program in theology. A few years later, I found myself here at Eastwood, and I found that tug again to teach and to disseminate the word of God to the people of God. And so now I'm pursuing ordination as a deacon in the United Methodist Church. So I'm in the candidacy process for that.
So deacon is a great word to start this message off with because it's like Greek for servant.
Yeah.
And you're back here as a servant, a volunteer of media. You might be the only media deacon in the whole United Methodist Church across the whole globe, or at least when you become a deacon. But today we're talking about volunteering. And we're using a book by Leith Anderson and Jill Fox. And they were pastors and executive pastors at a church. And now I think they're both retired at this point. But they get down to the nitty gritty of volunteering, of serving.
Okay.
And they tell all these fun stories in there about people who serve. So I'm going to tell you some stories.
Sweet.
They're not my stories, but they're Leith and Jill's stories. The first one they talk about is Kennedy. And Kennedy is an 8-year-old aspiring softball player. She suits up every game. She's got her cleats. She's got her uniform. She's got her helmet. She is ready to play, but the coach just doesn't think she's ready. So she sits on the bench, and game after game after game, she's like, "Put me in, coach." You know that song?
I do not.
You don't? Yeah, that's too bad. It's a great song, great baseball song. So anyway, she's probably not singing that song because she's too young for that as well. But one day she finally gets her chance. There's an injury and the coach puts her in. So she steps up to the plate and crack, bang, and the ball goes out in the outfield. And it's an in the park home run because when you're that little, the players, they're not.
Yeah. The
defense is horrible. and She crosses home plate. Coach is there, and coach says, "I didn't know that you had that in you." And she said, "Well, I did, of course." She flips her hair and it goes off and sits on the bench, proud of this moment that she did what she knew she could do, even though the coach didn't believe in her.
The coach has lost the plot. What do you mean you're coaching 8-year-olds and you got to wait for somebody to get hurt to let a kid play? Come on now.
Yeah. So this is how Leith and Jill write about that little moment.
They say, unlike Kennedy, we have a coach who knows we can hit. And instead of keeping us benched, they're nudging us off the bench and into the game.
I love that contrast of the coach, I don't know which, Jesus, God, the Holy Spirit, like
All three, all of them.
all three, all in one. Where there's one, there's the others. Is this coach that's not letting us sit on the bench?
Yeah. That nudging, though, like you don't have to play, but you're encouraged to.
Yeah, invited to. So we like to stop in the middle of the messages, give people a chance to talk. So turn to your neighbor or write your answer in the comments. Here's a question to talk about.
Have you ever felt like Kennedy, like you were ready, but no one gave you a chance? What did that feel like?
All right, today, have you ever had this feeling like you were ready, but somebody's not putting you in?
Yeah, there's like moments when I was very, very young. I was a little bit younger than the rest of the church musicians, but I would always sit like right behind them in service. Mm-hmm. And there was one, I had already learned to play drums at this point. I could functionally play. I knew that I could play. I knew I could do it. And one of my friends wasn't at church that Sunday and we needed a drummer. And I was like, I can do it, please. Mm-hmm. But the adults still wouldn't let me. They said I was too little.
How old were you?
I was like 8.
Okay.
I was plenty big.
Almost the same age as Kennedy.
Exactly.
Yeah. You would have gotten up there and torn it up?
Maybe not quite, but I would have got through the service.
You would have kept the beat.
For sure.
Yeah. So today we're starting a new series called Volunteering. I mean, it's pretty simple what it's about. It's about volunteering.
Yeah.
And it's based on this book by Leith Anderson and Jill Fox. And the point of the message is pretty simple. Like it's really boiled down to, and this is the whole point.
The point is, your life is a coin. Spend it on what lasts. Your life is like a coin. You can spend it any way you want, but you can only spend it once. That's a quote from Leith Anderson and Jill Fox from the book.
So this is the point if you're watching this video in at one of our campuses that the ushers are going to pass around some coins.
Coins?
Here we go. They're chocolate coins, chocolate 50-cent pieces.
Nice.
You could say that your life is like a coin. You only get to spend it once. Or you could say your life is like a chocolate coin.
You only get to eat it once.
So savor it. Savor it.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Which, this reminds me of a Chinese proverb that I learned recently, and no conversation with me would be complete without a reference to some Instagram reel.
Accurate.
So there's this one Chinese Instagrammer who reads like tattoos that are on Chinese tattoos on
These are
people,
my favorite.
and
yes.
like what exactly they mean, and people don't always quite get it right.
There are so many. There's a lot to be said there.
Yeah, there is. we could spend a whole message unpacking that one thing, but what I'm aiming for is the very last one. So watch and listen.
注定的亲戚 destined relative. You got a favorite uncle or something? 结界来解记 gibberish. 态度强硬 a tough attitude. 英语大厅 English lobby. More like English train. 腿 leg. 寿司 sushi. 泡菜 pickled vegetables. 湖鼠 lake rat. Do rats swim? 临济南快连 gibberish. 麻 numb 妈 mom 娘 mother. 不景气 economic slump. I know, right? Have you seen the prices of the eggs? They're more expensive than the chicken. 生米煮成熟饭了 Raw rice has cooked into cooked rice. Actually, this is a phrase we do say. It means what's done is done, since cooked rice cannot be uncooked.
So the Chinese is raw rice has been cooked into cooked rice, which is basically like once it's cooked, or what's been done has been done.
Yeah, I use the slang term cooked all the time. I should integrate this into my speech more.
Raw rice, cooked rice.
Cooked rice.
So we're back to the point. Your life is like a coin. You can only spend it once. Your life is like raw rice. It only gets cooked once. Your life is like a chocolate coin. You only get to savor once unless you go all in. Leith and Jill talked about Kennedy, but they also tell a story about Molly.
Okay.
Molly is an 18-year-old camp counselor, and one of the elementary age kids named Jenny, who's, just a classic little girl, big eyes, long hair, beautiful little girl, comes up to Molly and says, I want to follow Jesus, but I don't know how. And this is like every camp counselor's dream moment. Like, what do you do in that moment? And Molly panicked. She's like, I'm only 18 years old. I'm not a preacher. I haven't gone to seminary. I don't know how to tell her this.
I mean, yeah.
That's how a lot of people feel, right?
Yeah, it's a lot.
She sits down under this big oak tree, and it gives her time to think, and she does her best to explain it all. Now, Ade, you've got theological training. You're in the process to become a deacon. So tell us.
Okay. So if I was just like trying to summarize like all of it, Trinitarian theology is like God is like one person, but is also like three people. And then there's like the perichoretic relationships, which means they're all like one person, but they're all like dancing in and out of each other. And then like they're one of those people, which is Jesus, is both fully God and fully human. And like there's different reasons that people talk about why Jesus came. So then there's like 6 main ones, but then there's like a couple others depending on who you ask. And then there's like, after you've like figured out like why Jesus came, then there's like, what did that do? And like how you read the Bible and how you understand all of the different pieces of the Bible, like the genres and like the different pieces. Like did y'all know that there's like 3 different Psalms in Psalms, and like Isaiah is a bunch of different stuff too. And there's like different parts of like Revelation, like is there general revelation, like the revelation found in nature, and then there's like special revelation, which is like God like revealing themselves to like a Moses in the burning bush, and also like to somebody on the street sometimes. And then there's like how do you know that you know what Jesus came to do and die for and live for, and like what are the reasons that you know that? And then there's like and that's called the doctrine of assurance. And then there's like empowerment. So like what one of those other 3 people of the God person that we talked about earlier is the Spirit, and like what are they doing and when are they doing it and how are they doing it? And then there's like, once you figured all of that out, then there's like still being a person. So you have to like figure out like what does it mean to like be a person, and like it's called ecclesiology. So like how do you relate to the church and all of the other churches? How do all of those churches relate to each other and relate back to God?
Big breath. Oh, that's probably not how you want to do it. But that was an impressive romp through your entire seminary education.
Very, very hard one.
A lot of late nights, a lot of papers, a lot of books read to do what you just did.
Still going.
Yeah. So, you probably don't want to do that. Like, she just sits down, she says, hey, Jesus forgives, Jesus heals, Jesus frees. Like, follow Jesus.
Much simpler.
That's it. Or one of the like big theologians of the last century, Karl Barth, was asked like, how do you sum it all up? And he said, there's a guy who wrote books and books and books. And he's like, Jesus loves me, this I know. The Bible tells me so. I mean, this is like, you can go that deep into everything you said, but it's also just quite simple. And that's what Molly did. And that's what Jenny wanted. And after Jenny got up, Molly just broke down like in like both tears of joy, but like tears of like whew.
Exasperate, yeah.
Yeah. She's just in awe of the opportunity that God used her to connect with this elementary age kid at summer camp. And I think in the way that it changed Jenny's life, it changed Molly's life too. Like when you volunteer, when you invest in somebody's life spiritually, it changes you in really significant ways.
Absolutely.
What Molly did that summer was she spent her life on something that lasts. She savored the chocolate coin.
Another quote from the book. Seeing someone come to faith propelled her to move forward in her faith. She wanted to know God more deeply. She wanted to share him more easily, more fully. She wanted to live for God more faithfully. The point is, your life is a coin. Spend it on what lasts.
So I have a personal story kind of like this of when I was a teenager.
Okay.
My high school had a radio station, WBDG, 90.9, digital 90. We had to say like B91, but then digital 90.9 because this was all part of the new.
Don't date yourself too hard.
Yeah, I know. This was like 400 watts. It went about like 100 square miles around the high school. And I had a friend who was part of the radio. Her name was Tiffany. And Tiffany was actually like eventually the sort of student manager. So she picked music.
Oh, cool.
And at some point, not because of me, but because of some other friends or another church experience, Tiffany came to make a commitment to follow Jesus. And Tiffany was somebody who, as a teenager, was just a really attractive young woman. And she got a lot of attention, a lot of unwanted attention, and a lot of unwanted attention in the radio station. And I was just somebody who's like respected her, both in my words and, in the way that I treated her. And that built a friendship from that point. And I suggested at one point, I'm not even sure I remember how it came up, but I was like, let's get together once a week at this, like as we're both coming into school.
Yeah.
There's like this outdoor pavilion at a local park, and let's just read a devotional together. It was kind of like, I wasn't the one that introduced her to Jesus, but I felt like there was something to help her grow and what that meant. So this is an old school, Our Daily Bread. We'd open up Our Daily Bread and we would read it and talk about it.
The throwback.
And it was just like 10 or 15 minutes before school started once a week. Now, Tiffany went on from there to eventually move down to Atlanta in your neck of the woods where you grew up.
Yeah.
And she became a DJ on J93.3, which is now Joy FM.
Yeah.
She went from 400 watts at WBDG to 38,000 watts, from 100 square miles to 10,000 square miles. She was the midday host, which means that she would have about 250,000 listeners daily each week. And she became the music director of that station as well, which that was a really influential Christian radio station in the whole United States.
Yeah.
So she's like setting the standards for what all the other Christian radio stations are playing.
Atlanta's
around
a
the
major
country.
market.
Yeah. Eventually she moved from behind a mic to behind a camera, and she became a VJ at the Gospel Music Channel. So
What?
This is like the Christian version of MTV. And
My channel of choice watching music videos growing up.
This is like from not just a local Atlanta region, but this is now nationwide.
Right.
Her influence from Atlanta to Los Angeles to New York. There's 47 million households that would watch the Gospel Music Channel. That's like a third of all TV owning families in the United States would watch this show, watch this TV station.
Yeah.
I mean, we're like rising up in Christian culture here. Started out at a little high school radio station that wasn't Christian, but then ended up at a Christian station in Atlanta, and then ended up as a VJ on Gospel Music Channel. The only next step up is to host the Dove Awards, and that she did.
Okay.
And she's stepped back from all of that at this point. She sort of stepped out of the public eye. Although I've reconnected with her recently, I was like texting her. I was like, "Is this still your number?" And she's like, "Yes, it is." So we're reconnecting. But she's currently married to Chris Clark, who's the CEO of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce, which is one of the largest chamber of commerces in the United States. So when I look back on that, I realized like a little bit of investment, like 10 or 15 minutes a week. Now, I'm not going to claim to be like that everything that she did is because of me. But there's a little bit. There's a little bit.
Yeah.
My life was a coin as a teenager. I spent it on something that lasted. It had a like rippling effect
For sure.
across the whole nation.
And potentially me. I watched a lot of Gospel Music Channel, and that some of those exposure to like those artists were formative in like my music taste and the way that I navigate Christian music even now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Where it's a small world.
very small. Your life is a coin. Spend it on what lasts. Our impact and our influence, as you've said, clearly stated in that story, it ripples out through our friends, through our small groups, through our teams that we volunteer on, through our kids, through our faith family, through like Kids Creek and Teen Fuel. My favorite example of this at Eastwood is with Carol Schneider, who serves on the guest services team herself. But she has been a faith family grandma to two of my volunteers, or not just mine, they volunteer in other places as well, Enter and Coda. And it's a joy to watch them. They're not blood related at all, but the influence and the persistence and the relationship, like I've watched them fly past you on a Sunday
They walk
morning.
right by me to Carol to get their hug from her.
Do not pass go, do not collect $200.
So you have a very similar impact here leading this team in the media booth. Like it's technical, but I think there's a way that you're also like a pastor of the people here in the media booth.
It's both technical and spiritual, for sure. There's especially when you're doing things that a lot of people have not done before, when you're learning new things, there's a piece of it that is important to address, like the human aspect of, hey, like you can do this, the encouragement and the persistence in the endeavor of doing the new thing and learning and owning it as a thing that you can do.
When you help others grow in the faith, you grow in the faith as well.
For sure.
So tell us the point of the message again today.
Your life is a coin. Spend it on what lasts. So let's take a moment and stop for another chat question. Reach out and connect with a group of 2 or 3 if you're in the audience, or in the chat if you're in the chat. Put it in the chat if you're online. Have you ever been a part of someone else's spiritual journey? What did that do to their faith and to your own? Take a moment.
Leith and Jill tell another story about a volunteer named Victor. And Victor had it all together. He had a college degree, he had a great job. He was an accountant, like he was making good money, but his life felt empty. One Sunday morning, he checked on the box of his church's connection card that he is interested in student ministries. And he didn't know what he was signing up for, but it seemed like, I'm young at heart. I can go volunteer with students.
And these can handle it.
Yeah. And before he knows it, he's like in a sea of middle schoolers and youth group, youth events, youth fun gatherings. And this becomes like the most meaningful part of his life. There's like a purpose, there's a meaning behind it. And what he begins to look forward to most on Sunday mornings are fist bumps from middle schoolers. And it's these kids, these middle schoolers that he has invested in, really become like the purpose of his life, the meaning behind what he's doing, that in just balancing spreadsheets is maybe not given to him.
Wow, that sounds like me. That is very much a way that I moved when I was middle of high school. I had a group of younger middle schoolers that just followed me around, or like looking for fist bumps, or wanted to study scripture with me and my friends, because that's what me and my friends were doing. So they wanted to be like us.
So Leith and Jill tell us, they kind of reflect on this.
They say he was giving a part of his life to others, investing himself in ways that truly mattered to him and to God, walking alongside these early teens, loving them, showing Jesus to them. This is what he had been made to do.
So what he's looking for, purpose and meaning, he finds it in volunteering with a bunch of middle schoolers.
Wild place, but I've seen it before. The point, again, your life is a coin. Spend it on what lasts. So we've been talking about the book, but let's turn to Jesus. The Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as ransom for many. That was Jesus in Matthew 20:28. Jesus was the ultimate volunteer. He spent his life on things that lasted. God and God's very self, like God, stepped into human history to serve, to give, to rescue, to heal. And now in Jesus, God says to us, follow me, become like me, serve like me. Paul, an early missionary of the church and writer of many of the books in the Bible, described how this works in a couple different ways in Romans. In His grace, God has given us different gifts for doing certain things well. So if God has given you the ability to prophesy, speak out with as much faith as God has given you. If your gift is serving others, serve them well. If you are a teacher, teach well. If your gift is to encourage others, be encouraging. If it is giving, give generously. Each of these is an encouragement to the thing that you know how to do, the thing that only you can do well.
Volunteering is unique to every person.
Every single person.
Yeah.
Later on, he says, if God has given you leadership ability, take the responsibility seriously. And if you have a gift for showing kindness to others, do it gladly. God made you to play this game of life, this way that we move through the world. God made us to engage in it, not to watch, not to sit on the bench, to be in the game, to use your gifts and your talents, your experiences, good and bad, all of it, for something that matters. God made your life like a valuable coin or like this piece of chocolate that I'm resisting. Once again, the point. Your life is like a coin. Spend it on something that lasts.
Hopefully they've gotten the point. Your life is like a coin. Spend it on something that lasts. So all of our campuses, we're going to be sharing this serve sheet. It's like a volunteer sheet. It's all the different places that people can volunteer at our church. And we just want to invite you over the next couple minutes to circle things that you might be interested in. And there's a place on the bottom as well where you can, like, if you don't see like your passion or your gift listed here some way, you can write in your own like volunteer thing. But this is, I think, what we mean when we talk about people being partners.
Right.
Like, it's not a member where you and I are members of a gym and we pay our dues and we go use the stuff. That's not what this is. Partnership is we're on a team together, accomplishing a mission, sharing our gifts, our talents, our resources to accomplish this mission. And so we're going to give people a chance to circle that. And this is part of like your offering today. You're going to put this in the blue bucket a little bit later on when it passes. Connection card, offering, and your serve sheet. Now you can do this electronically as well. There's a QR code on the screen. You can do it whichever way works for you. So whatever it is, now it's time to, you already bit into it. You've already started to savor it.
Savoring it right now.
Your life is like a coin or a chocolate coin. You only get to savor it. You only get to spend it once.
And I would encourage you, particularly if there may be things on the sheet that you've never done before or you don't have any experience in, even if it sounds interesting, check it anyway. You'd be surprised at what might happen.
It's a nice little hit.
Mm-hmm.